Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to Let's Unpack That After Dark. This is season 3. It's been a long time, but we are definitely back in effect and here to stay. I am Lala, your host, and you already know it's on and popping. Let's go. Shall let them know what it is.
Shout make what's good. Shout out to Jersey. Shout out to everybody. Happy to be back. You know what I'm saying? It's not Black History Month, but I'm keeping it going. You already know.
It's Black History Month, Women's History Month, but we back, Mika Meek be back. She's out for now, but she'll be back shortly. But we're gonna continue and do what we do now. So, Sha, how you doing? What's up? It's been a while. Let everybody know. You back.
Man, I can't complain.
Live and kicking.
Yeah, I'm back. You know what I mean? Beat that cancer, bouncing back slowly but surely, doing my thing.
Mm-hmm. Let them know what's really good, because sometimes we go through things and you gotta just kind of deal with it, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So today we're talking about accountability, accountability in love, family, and work. Right. So some people would say, accountability, what you mean? Like, what you talking about? Right. So that word accountability is often thrown around a lot. People just say, you don't take accountability, you don't own up to certain things. But a lot of times what I understand is that some people don't even know what the word accountability means, right? Because when you talk
Yep.
about accountability in different sections of your life, when it comes to relationship, family, friends, or even at work, it's defined differently. Accountability, right? So, what would you say your definition of accountability is?
My whole vision is just owning what you need to own and understanding your role in whatever circumstance it is, good or bad. Like
Hmm.
everybody plays a part, even if it's two people, everybody plays their part of it. Whether it's a lack of empathy, a lack of ownership, a lack of consideration, all of that is things you need to be accountable for. And however the situation turns out. And more often than not, we're talking about situations that don't work out. So
Hmm.
people always say, this person did this person did that, but never tell you what they did to contribute to whatever the result was.
Yeah, that's true. But then you have, so when you say, hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the definition, right?
Oh, you
So
about to pull the dictionary out after you done asked me. Go ahead, though. That's it.
I'm
That
not
was
pulling out a dictionary. I'm just
the.
going to define it, right?
I like.
So
Yeah, you using AI Google. That's what's up, though. Go ahead.
accountability is taking responsibility for your words, action, and impact, right? Owning mistakes without deflecting, blaming, or minimizing.
I was close.
You was close.
I was
Yeah, you was
close.
close. You was close.
I
But
was
when
close.
you think about the definition, right? Why do you think that a lot of times I'm sorry is so hard? Why is it that people they struggle with my bad, you right, or different choice words when it comes to owning their roles in certain dynamics and situations.
I think because accountability in and of itself is hard. It's hard to look in the mirror and be like, yo, this, like, I got to take the blame for some of this stuff. I think just innately people don't want to do that. And I'm sorry is not hard. Saying it, living up to it and making the changes to show that you're sorry is where I think the disconnect is. I've had a lot of people say sorry and continue the same behavior. I've had a lot of people say sorry and not look at themselves and say, like, if you tell me you're sorry, I want to know what you're sorry for, so that I completely understand that you understand what you may or may not have done or said wrong. If you can't explain what you're sorry for, then you're not sorry because you don't even know what you're sorry for.
Okay.
Like when
So
my
do-
daughter be like, "I'm sorry, Dad, I shouldn't have did that." I was like, "Well, what are you sorry for?" She'd be like, I don't know what happened." I was like, "What exactly are you sorry for? What about? What are you saying sorry for? Because if you can't say it and understand what you're sorry for, then the behavior is going to continue."
But if you don't understand the definition of it, then how can you explain that?
I think it's important that, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad you read that definition too, because that's something that I'm gonna pull out my phone and Google and let somebody read and be like, do you understand what? Because no, I'm saying it was eye opening. Like I was close to it, but I didn't even have all of what you said. Understanding what it really is will help people understand when they say they're sorry, what they need to be sorry about. Like you need to know the definition of stuff to be able to live up to it.
Okay, so do you understand that in different relationship dynamics, right? The definition kind of shifts a little bit.
Yeah, you mean like if it's like a sexual relationship or work relationship or friendship, etc.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
So,
think they're intensified based on what the relationship is. Yeah, absolutely.
so when you talk about relationship dynamics, right, and being accountable, when you talk about relationships, right, it's really the pattern of communication, right? In a relationship, in a I want to say a love relationship, two people together. A lot of times it's the power balance, right? The emotional safety, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to taking accountability for the things that you do in a relationship. Because I'm going to touch every aspect of the dynamics of relationship, right? So we're gonna talk about the love piece of it first. Relationship dynamics, two people together in a relationship, right? A lot of time, taking accountability is another way of building trust, right? People build trust based on being comfortable, right? Emotional safety, right? Being able to acknowledge how one is feeling based on language, based on how you address the situation, the words, the choice words that you use to help people understand that you can relate or you can understand why they're feeling the way they feel, instead of you know avoiding it or making not even acknowledging it, right? It allows you to prevent resentment in a relationship, right? And it also strengthens the communication between two people, and it also shows emotional maturity. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree, but I think love confuses it too. I stand on two things. I stand on respect and I stand on communication. I
Okay.
think if open lines of communication is there and there's a respect there, everything can be kind of worked out. Even if that working out is parting ways. So you have to understand yourself and be accountable, and you have to understand your audience and who you dealt with too. Because there's some
Hmm.
things you can change about a person, and there's some things that I think people place high expectations on people that they have that aren't warranted,
Okay.
especially in relationships,
Yeah.
which is what we're dealing with right now. I think people get
Okay,
with
that's what we're
somebody.
talking about right now.
Yeah. So I might get with a female, and I have a huge bar that I've set and an expectation I've set, but I haven't communicated that to that individual, and they don't know that. So how can I expect them to live up to it? You can't expect people to live up to things because you have a certain moral compass. You have to have a line of communication where you understand where that person's coming from, their history, their background, their traumas, their past relationships, and get to a point where they understand where you're coming from and you understand where they're coming from, because there are limitations and capabilities when it comes to relationships too. And you have to know going into it what those are.
But you also know that people oftentimes in relationships, right? There's a expectation, right, that a person is supposed to know certain things, right? So and a lot of that comes from upbringing a lot of times, or even what they see on TV or movies or things like that, the influence, right? A lot of times I've heard people say, well, he's supposed to know that I like flowers because he saw flowers in my house. Or he's
I,
supposed to know that I like Valentine's Day, so we're supposed to celebrate Valentine's Day, but there was no conversation. Now, my thing is, if there's a conversation and I'm able to say to you, this is what I like, this is what I need, this is what I want, then if you don't give me what I want, then I can say, you're not giving me what I want. And it's up to you to take accountability that I've told you what it is that I want. You're just not giving it to me.
so
Right?
first of all,
Here
let me
we,
start by
here
saying
we go.
first of all, I'm gonna start off by saying this. I completely agree with you. Even though what I say might go against it, I completely agree with you. However, I also feel like, especially in relationship, and this is my biggest thing too, you should be in tune with your person. So if I walk in, and maybe this is just me, but I'm very, very, very observant. Like when I first met you, I noticed you always chew gum. Me coming and giving you a pack of gum, I'm just small example, right? So if I
Yeah.
see you one day, if I'm in the store and I'm buying some chips and my little Arizona green tea and all that, and I see a pack of gum that I know you rock with, and we together, I'm gonna grab that and be like, let me grab this, because you always chew gum, and you obviously probably chew the same brand. Those are things. Again, I agree totally with you, but those are things like I've heard people say that they should know, and I think they're right, because you should know certain things about your person. Now, oh, I saw flowers up there. Yeah, that might be a hint, especially if she's changing flowers constantly. Then yeah, you should know she likes flowers. So maybe you might want to go get her some flowers. Like everybody knows you like the gym. So if there's some random day, I might buy you some new workout gloves. I might buy you a new waist belt. I might buy you a new aloe outfit to go work in. Like those are things you should know when you're with your person. So you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't disagree, but there are some things as a grown up in a relationship, you should be paying attention to your person. But I like to read energy, so I want to know everything about you. Like I'm very attentive, so I'm gonna know stuff without, because nonverbal communication is huge too.
So is that something that you've learned when you was growing up? Because I hear what you're saying when you say being in tune, right? But not everybody has that skill set. Not everybody knows how to be in tune with the person that they would, even in a relationship, right? So would you say that that means they just don't want to do it, or they just don't know how? Because a lot of behaviors are learned behaviors, right? If you grew up in a household with two-parent household and you saw your father or your mother, you saw your father bringing your mother flowers all the time, you're more inclined to develop that relation, that behavior, because it's what you saw. But if you have been in situations where you don't know that, right, or you haven't seen that, and that other person is expecting you to know that, then you're not going to know, right? Is that, I mean, is it safe to say that sometimes it's the
My volume went
expectation?
out.
You hear me now? What kind of, what you got, a mobile
You
PTS?
can hear
What's
me?
up? Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear you.
I don't know what's wrong with you. I can hear you. You can't hear me, but I can hear you.
Hold on.
So I'm going to continue. So as I was saying, that when you are, sometimes we have expectations in relationships for someone, and sometimes they just don't know. And I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying that we should make excuses for someone that doesn't have the ability to meet the expectations of what it is that you want from your person in a relationship, right? But oftentimes, some people are not equipped with that, right? Or some people are not taught, or don't even see, have never even seen such behaviors to know how to do it. But then again, then we talk about how old are you, right? So at a certain age, does the expectation change when you get of a certain age?
Yeah, and I missed some of it because I had to dip out my phone, right? But I don't think a number quantifies maturity. I think after
Mhm.
certain experiences, you should know. I'm big on experiences. I think that, like, if I meet somebody and they say they 30, I don't cast aspersion like, oh, they 30, they don't know nothing, because I don't know what they've been through. I know by the
Right.
time I was 30, I had been through a whirlwind of stuff. By the
Hmm.
time I was 21, I had been through a whirlwind of stuff. So I learned how to deal with stuff. People learn to grow up at different levels. You know what I'm saying? I know 50-year-olds that are just ignorant and immature as can be. So I think it changes. But I think innately, and this might be putting too much on a person. I think innately, if you're into me or I'm into you, there's certain things that just as a human being I should be doing and wanting to do. And
Okay.
communication got to be key. Like, how do you get to know somebody if you're not asking them questions? And I ask 1,000 questions. People hate that about
Right.
me. I ask questions because I want to know. I want to.
Right.
I want to start having that conversation. I want to know about you. I want to know what you like, what you dislike. I want to see how you communicate. I want to see if you even want to answer. Like, there's a level of sharing that comes with it. And I think when you get that, like, there are some things innately you should know about a person. Like, if you ask me about my homeboys, my homegirls, my sister, my daughter, I know all they likes and dislikes because I pay attention to it. And I like somebody, and that's another thing with relationships too. I think people a lot of times get with the wrong people because of the wrong reasons. I like people that are into me, and people that are into me know what triggers me, what I like, what my dislikes are, what my favorite teams are, what my favorite food is. Like they pay attention.
Okay. So
That's
what?
just for me though.
So some of the challenges and struggles that people face in relationship when it comes to accountability in relationship, I'm speaking of, right?
Right, right.
Some people feel like taking accountability is about losing power, right? Right. If I take accountability and I lose power or I'm perceived to be weak, when it really is about building trust, right? I think a lot of people don't understand that the safest relationship are the ones where people can admit that where they're wrong, right? Egos protect you, accountability grows you. Let me say that again.
Oh, say that again. You dropped it. I wasn't ready for this. Go ahead. Say that again.
Egos protect you, accountability grows you. Let that let that sink in. Let's
That's a
unpack that
good
a
one.
little bit, right?
That
Every
is
person,
a good one.
right, in relationship, every just in general, because we're talking about relationship right now. We'll go into the
Right.
next part, but we all have egos, right? Especially in the relationship, right? Man is man, woman is woman, and if you have the same sex relationship, it's still the same dynamics. Somebody has to be more dominant than the other, right? Egos is a big deal. A lot of times relationships end because of ego. A lot of times relationships end because somebody feels like they're too vulnerable or they're not allowing themselves to be vulnerable. When reality is being able to take accountability for how you made a person feel by simply saying, I hear you, right? I didn't know you felt that way, can take your relationship a long way, right?
If the
Instead of
behavior changes after that, though.
Yeah, if the behavior
Yeah,
changes, right? And
yeah.
changing your words, the choice words, right? Because people don't realize that, like you said, somebody can say sorry and not even know why they're saying sorry, right? But to them, I took accountability because I said I was sorry, right? But I can't tell you why I said I was sorry.
Then you ain't sorry. You don't even know what you're sorry for.
Right. You don't know what you're sorry for. You're just saying it because again, in relationships, when things are hot and heavy, and most people, not all, most people want to get out of that hot and heavy area. Right? Right. So you'll find somebody gotta be the cool-headed one and bow out gracefully. It may not even feel that way, but they're gonna bow out gratefully, but it doesn't solve the problem, right? It doesn't build the trust, right? It doesn't create an emotional safety. It doesn't prevent resentment, right? And it doesn't strengthen the communication,
Right, right.
right? Just to be clear, and I'm gonna stand on this one when it comes to relationships, intimate relationship. In order for you, if you want to build a strong foundation in your relationship, then you have to be able to take accountability for your actions, right? And that accountability will show the emotional maturity, which means that you have to leave your ego to the side and grow with your accountability.
See, that's a tough one for me.
Why is it a tough one for you?
Because you know what? I think, and I'm not going to speak for all men, but making yourself vulnerable puts you in a very tough place. And we have seen, especially with social media, but even
Mm-hmm.
back in our day, like before social media, we have seen how being vulnerable can absolutely destroy you. We see all the time on blogs, and yeah, they're famous people, but you're vulnerable to a person, then y'all have a fallout, and they go right to YouTube, right to Instagram, right to Facebook, and expose everything that you told them during yourself being vulnerable. That's why I don't trust people because people ain't solid. Like once things go left, they talk about you like a dog. So being vulnerable exposes a part of you that you may not want the world to know. So you got to be careful with, and I think that hinders a lot of relationships because people are so scared to trust somebody with their inner feelings, thoughts, etc. Because if it doesn't work out, then where does this information go? To the internet? Like nobody wants that. I don't. I'll say I don't want that.
So
I don't.
interestingly enough, right? You're talking about vulnerability, right?
Which ties in for
So
me to a lot of stuff.
vulnerability comes with trust, right? So if you're not able to take accountability to build trust and create an emotional safety space, then you're not going to be vulnerable. You're not. You're
Let me
going
ask you
to
a
be
question.
hold on. You're not going to be able to build a space within your relationship that allows you to prevent resentment, to be emotion, to feel that you're in an emotional space with the person that you're dealing with, to allow you to be vulnerable. You're going to continuously have communication issues. You're going to continue lack trust, right? So that's what we're talking about, because it's in levels, right? If I'm able to be in a relationship where the person I'm with can take accountability for how they behave or the things that they've done or how they've made me feel, that allows me to build a certain level of trust for the person, right? That gives me an emotional space, then I can be able to be more vulnerable with that person. But like you said, if I don't trust you, then I'm not going to be vulnerable, right? So, guy, you have a question for me?
Not really a question, but I'll say this. Trust is a hard pill to swallow. I have trust no one tattooed on my chest. Because go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it.
So you don't come in with trust.
We unpacking it.
Right, but you don't come in with trust. So it's hard for you.
I come in with a level of trust.
Yeah, but see, hold on. You don't trust, right? So because you don't trust, trying to get to that level of being accountable is short-lived, because you don't trust anyway. So even if a person takes accountability for anything that they've done to you, or even to try to communicate to build that emotional safety, to build trust, you don't trust. So if a person,
let me take over the plan real quick.
Let me land. If you're unable to show emotional maturity when it comes to being accountable for your actions, your behavior, you are not going to build trust to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Let me say that again.
Go ahead.
If you let go of your ego and be accountable, you will grow.
I think you tie in trust into accountability, which I disagree with. Respect your opinion.
Hold on. I'm not tying. Hold on. Wait. I got to correct you on that. What I'm saying is that if you're able to take accountability in your situation, in your circumstance, you can learn to build trust. It is two different things, but if I do something to you and I'm able to acknowledge what I did and acknowledge how you feel, you're more prone to develop some type of trust, beginning of trust for me, because I'm able to acknowledge it. If I do certain things like gaslight you or use my ego to project, then you're not going to trust anything that I say.
Yeah, if you say it like this too, like you just did, I'm definitely not going to. But I'm just saying.
Right.
See, the problem with trust is you can trust somebody, and I think when people get older, they understand this. You can trust somebody for a long time, and they can break that trust like this.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I've had that happen to me, and when I tell you, second to betrayal, breaking my trust was probably one of the most that's one of the most painful things I've ever had to go to. So it's not like I never trusted, but I learned that trust to me is just a word, and it has an expiration date, unfortunately.
Does it though?
It shouldn't. Listen, there's people that I don't speak to anymore, and I will never speak to again, and I will never divulge what they told me in a vulnerable state while they was talking to me. Is that my expectation for everybody? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And because I've seen people betray it so much, I definitely doesn't.
Yeah, but you a Gemini. You stop talking to people for the smallest shit. So I don't know. You just a little different. That's all I'm gonna say. You just a little different. But what I will say is this, right? Because we're talking about accountability, and we're talking about tying people taking accountability to trust building of trust, right? And creating emotional safety in relationships, and also preventing resentment, right? And we also I understand that being able to take accountability shows in emotional maturity, right? Now, there's a lot of struggle when it comes to taking accountability and understanding the need to take accountability. And some of the things that take place when people are unable to take accountability, right? And some of those things are being defensive, right? Turning the thing around. They know they did something, but they're gonna reverse it onto you. Um, things saying things like, well, you do it too,
Yeah,
right?
that's not accountability. That's an accountability statement
Right.
because it ain't about that.
Let
Right.
me land. I'm giving you examples of accountability struggles, right?
Right.
Defensiveness, right? Gaslighting, right? Minimizing feelings and telling somebody you're overreacting. It's gaslighting.
That's you too.
That's not me. I don't do that. Don't do that. Mm-mm. This ain't about me. Right? Again, ego and pride. The fear of looking weak, right? Associating apology with loss of power. Got it? You understand that? Right? It's
All too
also
well.
it also
All
that
too well.
people struggle with accountability when they have trauma responses, right? Trauma responses are avoidance, shut down, overly justifying behavior.
How many pages in that damn notebook? You did you did some research. You set me up. I gotta start doing some research. Go ahead though. Go ahead.
Listen,
Yeah.
we're unpacking season 3. We're unpacking with some real facts here.
Nah, this
Okay,
is dope though. This is dope.
we're doing some facts because I think that it's important for people to understand that when we have conversations or just issues in general, because we were talking about relationships, we're gonna talk about life in general. In life in general, when you go through things, the things that we go through in life affects our daily movement, right? And oftentimes when we don't understand the things that we've have experienced and things that we've done, we don't other people have to say because we're so wrapped up in how we feel and how it makes us feel, right? But we never take time to understand what we're doing to others when we're dealing with our own feeling, right? That's ego, pride, lack of accountability, trauma, gaslighting, all in one,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when
Right.
we understand the definition of accountability and what that looks like from different perspectives when it comes to all aspects of your life, then you'll be able to understand how to deal with other people, how to build trust, how to create emotional safety, how to prevent resentment, right? Because we resent people when we're unable to take accountability or when they're unable to take accountability, when we're unable to acknowledge how people are feeling and what they're telling us, and we're not taking it into consideration how they feel because we're too busy trying to protect our ego or not feeling like we weak or associating the apology with the loss of power, right? it
Right.
it, it destroys the relationship dynamic on every single level, whether it's a love relationship, a friendship, family, or even at work, right? Because accountability is important in every aspect of your life to understand why you are the way you are and why you do the things that you do. And sometimes when people are able to acknowledge what it is that needs a healthy accountability, right? I'm going to tell you the things that you can say that appears to be healthy accountability, right? Here, you ready? All right.
Damn, you got a lot in that notebook. Go ahead. I got a question after this too, because I
We
want to
have
know
a
something.
conversation and you tell me how you feel, and I say, I see how that affects you. That's a healthy accountability. How does that make you feel if I said that to you? You telling me something, right? I should have handled that better. How can I fix it?
You gonna say it with that face on though? You
how
can't say it like that.
how can I fix it? Right? Now, toxic blaming is real too when it comes to accountability, right? People that say things like, that's just how I am. You too sensitive. Lack the ability to take accountability.
That makes people shut down. When you tell
That
them
is a
that and they're being vulnerable and you tell them
that's a
you're too
fact.
sensitive, that
Mhm.
means you don't care about anything that I just said or I'm saying. That'll make
Right,
somebody shut down.
right. So I think that while we have this conversation about accountability and what that looks like to help people understand how would it better a relationship dynamic, whether it's love, intimacy, love, relationship, family relationship, friendship, or even at work, being able to identify what role you as a person can can play to make the situation better helps you,
Right. Right.
right? I'm gonna go to Facebook. I'm gonna go to Instagram real quick. I got what's up, Dre? Everybody on here, Pretty in Pink said, "Child, I hate that. I hate that just how I am. Like, get far the fuck away from me with that." Really?
She
How
sound
many
like me.
people?
She sound like me.
How many people do you know say that? I've heard people say, "This is who I am," and right. But that doesn't make it right, right? Because if we're communicating, if we're friends, and I say something to you that you don't like, you should be able to say, "Yo, I don't like what you said. It hurt my feelings," and I should be able to say, "My bad. I didn't know it hurt your feelings." Not that's just who
I
I
got
am.
something to say. I got something to say.
Go
I gotta
ahead.
cut you off and land the plane. This is why you have to cut friends off, because if they say that, they're not your fucking friends. You choose the energy in the room by the rooms that you choose to be in.
Okay.
If that energy is in the room, you don't blame that person. You take accountability for yourself and say, I messed up by choosing this person. Period. That's my perspective.
I
That's
agree.
my perspective.
I
Because
agree.
and that's part of accountability too. So I've been with people and I said, this is not gonna work. Some I walked away from and I was comfortable with. Some I stayed, and everything that happened after that, because I didn't listen to my own energy and my own moral compass and everything else, that's on me, not on that person. If
Okay.
some people will be good people and some ain't. And you have to decide who that is based on how they treat you and the things that they say, and more importantly, the things that they do. Once it goes to a level where you know that person is a certain kind of way and you stick around, that's on you. In my
Well,
opinion.
okay,
In my
you're
opinion.
right. Now, hear me out now. And you're right, right, to an extent, right?
I'm always right.
But people,
Even when I'm wrong,
so
I could have been right.
again, though, some people just like
50%.
to give other people grace, right? Understanding that there are things that transpire in people's life that cause them to be who they are. And some people are able to give people grace, right? Now, how much grace, right, comes from people that are selfless, right? Very understanding, right? Put other people first as opposed to their own feelings, right? Maybe understand a person better, which allows them to be in a dynamic, in whatever relationship dynamic that is, longer than they need to be, because they see good. Most people want to see good in other people, right? And like what's Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them, right? And sometimes we just don't believe them. We don't believe it because you know why? Because there was at some point or another, you saw a different part of a person,
That's too
right?
small of a part. That's too small of a percentage. I gotta see
That's
consistency.
right. No, and I agree. I think consistency is necessary, but I also think when you talk about taking accountability and building relationship dynamics and trust, that takes a lot of maturity, right? That takes a lot of understanding who you are as a person. We go through things in life. Everyone goes through things in life, whether it be how you grew up, whether it be a relationship that you had that didn't work out well, a friendship, a teacher that didn't treat you right, an employer that didn't treat you right. We take on those relationship dynamics, emotional wise, and we process them, right? Some of us get mistreated at work and take it full throttle, and everybody gets treated the same after that, right? Some of us have friends that have mistreated us, or even our own family members that have done things to us that we hold on to it so much that we project it on everything that we do, and we continue to let it salvage and take over the things in our mind over years and over time, right? And we don't let it go, right? Which means that it prevents us from developing trust, right? um, Moving forward in life, and then we hold on to the baggage, and then at some point it explodes and it becomes bigger than it needs to be, right?
Hold
And
on
then,
a second.
but
Hold on a second.
hold on
No,
now,
hold
hold
on.
on. Let me finish,
Are you reading from the
right?
book?
But when we do that, when you allow yourself to be intertwined with emotions with something that transpired in your life, again, love, relationship, family, work, and all that, then you're the one that's allowing that to overpower your emotion, which means that you have to be able to take accountability for how the role you play and allowing the things to process in your head and continue to fester that affects your daily life. I'll wait.
I'm gonna say this. This might be off subject because I see where you're going, and maybe I misunderstand what you're saying. But all relationships aren't meant to be relationships.
Facts.
Building trust with people isn't for everybody.
Facts.
I Now when you choose to build it, yes, everything you said is true. But I think people choose to build trust with people for a lot of the wrong reasons and with a lot of the wrong people. And that's why we having this conversation.
Yeah, that's
Some
a fact.
people you don't need to be trying to build trust with. And that's where your frustration comes in as an individual, because you're trying to build trust with a person that's not on your level, that you have no business building trust with that person. Everybody has fallen in love with somebody that was no good for them, and everybody told them, and everybody did this. You're like, nah, we building something. You're building with a non-builder.
That's a fact.
Never gonna work. That's never gonna work. And that is what you need to ascertain prior to building trust. People tell me, oh, you don't trust nobody. No, I trust people. I have a ton of people I trust. I don't trust the people you want me to trust because they're not trustworthy. So don't put that I don't trust people on me. Like, I trust certain people because they have a proven track record of building. Like, I can trust them. But that trust ain't for everybody, bro.
Pretty in Pink said, "Give
I
me
like
four
her. She
quarters.
always commenting.
Give me 4 quarters over 100 pennies any day." She also said, "I used to give a lot of grace. Then I lost my dad, and I'm like, F the grace, girl."
So I mean, losing somebody would definitely make you feel a certain kind of way. But I don't think, and I'm not condemning what she's saying. But it's been tough. I buried my first daughter. Like, there's a lot of things that in your trauma that I think a lot of people like. I try my best not to take my trauma out on other people, and when people take their trauma out on me, I kind of understand it because I try, like I said, I try not to, but I've barked at people for reasons that I shouldn't have, and I've gone back and had to apologize.
Word. But go ahead.
Calm down. Don't make this personal. Stay professional. Go in your book. Stay in your book.
Mac.
Stay in your book. Here we go. So I you know what I'm saying? I get that part, but trust is tough. Trust is tough. And certain kind of people, especially me, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a humongous ego. I always think that I'm right. I think that I make the right decisions. I think that I think through things. So when people disagree with me, you have to explain why you're not going where I'm going for me to really get it. You have to come with your little notepad. I see you looking at your notes now because you're trying to just do some stuff now.
Wait,
you gotta let me know what's going on.
Ego protects, accountability grows you.
I mean, ego protects. Accountability this is a thing. Sometimes accountability is ugly because sometimes your accountability and taking ownership for your things will expose why you shouldn't be in a situation that you need to be accountable for because it's the other person. And that's the that's what I'm going to always stand on too.
Okay.
Sometimes you can do things like everybody knows you married. How long did it take you to build trust with your husband? And what was it that made you trust him enough to make a lifelong commitment? Let's talk about we talking about relationships.
Oh.
You married. I'm just saying. Because once you have, and then how has that trust and whatever other, because people can't live up to everything. How is that trust affected where you are now? Has anything changed? Like, I built this trust with him and I ain't like this. No specifics, but you know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna put
So I think that's an interesting question that you should ask, right? And I do think that, yes, time, trust.
You ain't got to flash the ring while you talk about it.
No.
Put your hand down. Yeah.
Trust, accountability, that relationship dynamics, right? When you decide to marry someone and become one, there are a lot of things that come with it, right? For me, I got married. I'm old. I'm an old head, right?
You're not old. Don't say that.
I'm old head. right?
You're not
So
old.
getting
Stop saying
married
that.
at the age that I got married, right? We both brought our own baggage into the situation, right? So
Baggage
at
or
some
blessings?
point, At some point, right?
What
We have.
baggage? What baggage? When you say baggage, what baggage?
So if you think about it, right? I got married at 50, right? At the
Right.
age of 50. That means that I have lived my life. I have structured my life the way I wanted it at some point. I had children. I live a certain way. I have a certain career. I pay my bills. I do what I need to do. So I'm this way, and now I'm getting married. So I'm bringing someone else who's in the same age bracket who've done the same thing. So we're intertwining together, right? So that means we're both at pretty much stuck in our ways at the age that we are. So now we have to adjust to understanding each other to intertwine together. That shit ain't easy. It's not. But it's the relationship dynamics and the faith and the trust, building trust, and the straight accountability that we take for each other and the things that we go through. Now, don't get me wrong, it's nothing perfect, right?
Of
But
course not.
the communication part of taking accountability for the roles that we both play in different circumstances and situation, because you know me, I take it over the top. I can be a little over the top at times, right? Right. But then when I have conversations and I discuss how I feel and he discuss how he feels and we bring it together, then that's what makes it work because we're able to take accountability for our role in each action. A lot of times, and I have not always been like that. Let's be clear. I have not always been had the ability to take accountability for what the things that I've done and how I've treated people, right? I have not always been able to say, damn, I didn't think about it like that. Damn, you know what, you right. No, because everything is always defensive, right? And I'm gonna say from my own personal experience, my response is always a trauma response, right? A trauma response is avoidance,
You
shut
flipped
down,
another page.
overly. Trauma response is avoidance, shut down, and overly justifying behavior. So I have definitely been guilty of avoidance, shutting down, and overly justifying my behavior. I have at some point in my life been in that situation, right? But now I'm able to take accountability and say, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. I want everyone who is watching to understand. And when it comes to accountability, right, there are certain tools and words and phrases that's important for us to be able to say so that we can help our relationship dynamic, whatever kind of relationship it is. Whatever kind of relationship it is, whether it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, a family dynamic, or even at work, right? And some of them practice some of the things that I'm gonna say that are tools for practicing understanding how to take accountability for the things that we do are pause before responding, right?
Think
Think
about what
about
you're gonna say. Yeah, yeah.
think about what it is that you want to say before
You're
you
not
say.
good at that.
That's not true. I'm working on it. Anyway, pause before you respond. Meaning, think about what you're going to say before you say it because we all know how we are and how people respond to what we say, to things that they say. I'm definitely not good at it. I definitely respond and then later on be like, damn, I didn't know that. Right.
That's what I
I've
just
had
said.
that situation, family, friends, and loved ones. I've had it. Somebody will say something to me and I'll go off the handle and then I got to think about it later. I'm accountable for that behavior. I own that behavior. I'm working on it. Right. Um, Understanding that accountability is not about losing power, it's about building trust, right? Being able to not minimize another person's feeling, right? Not telling somebody, oh, I did it, you doing what I did. That minimizes the feelings, that doesn't take accountability, that doesn't acknowledge how you feel, right? Replace words like but with and, right? I hear you and I want to do better. Those type of things, right? Ask yourself, what part of this situation is mine,
There you
right?
go with this notebook. Go ahead.
If you're able to, if you're able to refrain from saying things like, well, you do it too. You did it, so I'm gonna do it too. That's not gonna help the situation, right? Understanding that in every relationship dynamics, whether it's a, like I said, any relationship dynamics, some of the key points of patterns of communication and power, balance, and emotional safety is being able to acknowledge your behavior and understand that it's okay to acknowledge another person's behavior and be okay with it, right? Understand that accountability is not about pride or ego. Accountability is not about losing power and being, weak, right? Accountability is being able to acknowledge your role and owning your role and even apologizing if you have to. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with saying I understand. There's nothing wrong with apologizing and saying, you know what, I could have did something different. I could have did different. I could have did that different. I see what you're saying. I see you and I hear you. There's nothing wrong with that. And
Nothing.
that is the word. My word of today is
The tough pill to
egos.
swallow.
What you said?
The
What
tough
you
pill
said?
to swallow. But I agree with you, but that's a tough one.
Egos protects you.
Pause.
Accountability grows you. So if you want to grow in your relationship, then I suggest you understand the life and the measures of being able to take accountability for your words and your actions in any relationship dynamics that you're in. I'm gonna run to Instagram real quick. Pretty Pinky said, I used to overextend, bend over backwards, and overlook myself for others' benefits, but now I'm over it. Humans are perfectly imperfect once you realize that you had to find the person you're interested in fighting through life with. Okay. Oh, okay. Pretty
They gotta
Pinky.
fight with you though.
Now that I'd agree.
I'm a strong believer that everybody ain't for everybody, and you need to decide if this is the person or not. And it's not a decision I make; it's a person the other person makes. To me, you
I
gotta
mean,
you like I'm just keeping score. Like you gotta
mhm.
let me know that you're the person that's rocking with me. That's how I feel about it. And I think
I
people get
think it's
enamored
not
with
just
things that
it's just
don't
not
matter.
it's not just an intimate relationship though. I think
It's
a
not.
friendship, I think family,
Absolutely.
I think work, I think every relationship dynamics, if you are able to take accountability and that relationship dynamics is worth anything, then both parties got to be able to fight for it. Period. That's it. That's my take on it.
And
I,
everybody ain't built for that.
huh?
And everybody ain't built for that. And let me tell you something else about that family shit. Family is a title. Like we forced to be family. But whether we gonna rock is decided by me and you. Like so that family shit, I don't care, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, father, mother, whatever it is. If you a piece of shit, you a piece of shit. And I
Well,
ain't
here's
fuck.
the facts though. Here's
I
the
don't
fact.
care. I don't care what your title is. Cause
Family
because
don't have to be
because
blood
at the end of
though.
the day, you ain't earned the right of brother. You ain't earned the right of sister. You ain't earned the right of honor uncle. I posted this the other day. I had a post that said, and it's not verbatim, it said, I made my brothers in the streets through battles, scars, sharing, and something else it said. And it hit me so hard, I reposted it. I can't recall exactly what it is. I'm gonna look it up though. But that's how I built my brotherhood. Now, are some of them my family? Absolutely. And
Hmm.
and some of them aren't though. And
Right.
some of my family is my aunts.
That's right. So Pretty Pinky said, "You're related by blood, you're family by love." Okay, I like that. Thank you,
Tell Pretty
Pretty
Pinky to come
Pinky.
up here,
Thank you,
yo.
81.
Tell
You said Pretty Pinky. You said,
send her
"Come
the
on,
link,
you
yo.
getting invited, honey J."
Send her the
But you
link,
know
yo.
what? I can honestly say that some of my closest relationships are with people that are not blood by love. Like I can honestly say that because we don't.
Whoa, hold on a
You
second. I
don't.
got a question. You say by love. What else? And what is love to you?
That's another topic for another show.
No, I
We talk
gotta know
about
that.
accountability
I
today. We
gotta know.
talk
But
about
I'm saying,
you better parking lot that. That's
oh,
not about
write that in your
accountability.
notebook if you got pages left. Write that in your notebook if you got. If,
So, because I'm rebuttaling what Pinky Pretty Pinky is saying. That's accurate, right? a lot of us have friends and friends that we call family because of the relationship dynamics, and some of us have friends, a family that we don't rock with because of the lack of loyalty or the disappointments or the hurt or even a violation at some point. So I get it. A lot of us have, and a lot of that has to do with your family dynamics, how you were raised, what that looks like, and that's another topic for another day. But the reality is, a lot of us have more friends that are family than our own family that we really rock with. In
I
my
mean, because
family,
you
in
don't
my
choose your
family,
family. You
you're
get
right. You
stuck
can't
with
choose your
certain.
family. You
You
stuck with
get
your
stuck
family.
with some
But what I
BS.
can tell you about my family is when it's time, we may not talk. I don't rock with you, whatever. But when it's time to show up, everybody shows up. That I know. That's a fact, right? But at the end of the day, like you said, family can
Hey,
be.
but I
Family
got friends like that. I got friends I don't talk to all the time. But if I call them right now, they popping up and they showing out.
Right. So do those friends take accountability for anything that they've done to you?
The ones I call brothers haven't done nothing to me. Pause.
Okay. Why do you say pause?
Because that's crazy. Done something to you is crazy. But I
The
mean,
friends that you call brothers haven't done nothing to you.
I
So
mean,
you say
they've
pause.
never done. I think a lot of times people will say, and this is another part of accountability, and I'm glad you mentioned that too. A lot of people will say somebody did something to them, but the first thing I look at, me personally, is intent. Because
Hmm.
a lot of people do things to me that I find disrespectful, but they weren't intended to disrespect me.
But
They
that's
just,
your that's because that would be your perception.
well, it would be my perception, but intent means a lot to me.
Hmm.
So I try to analyze, like I reflect on a lot of stuff too. I'll be like, okay, they did this. Did they do this on purpose, or did they do? A lot of people disrespect you because they don't know your standards and stuff. And again, that leads to a conversation of, what are we doing here? I think intent is a lot. A lot of people do shit and they know exactly what the fuck they doing.
Okay.
That shit I'm not gonna tolerate. And a lot of people just make mistakes because I've made them, so I can empathize with what they did because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they did that, but they ain't do it to hurt me. They did it because they did it.
But is it safe to say that because you have such an expectation when it comes to people that if they don't move the way you want them to move, you react?
No, because most of the times, like I said, I'm in tune with people. So let me like so intent. Let's go back to intent. Here's an example. Not a real example. It's a fake example, but it's kind of a real example. Somebody be like, I need to borrow $2 from you. I'm just saying $2. I'll be like, all right, when you gonna pay me back next week? Okay. I give them the $2. I don't know that they starving and shit like that. So they have every intention on paying me, but they can't. So they ain't trying to beat me, which is a whole nother conversation. They trying to survive. They stay in touch with me, yo, da 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 da. Some people will drag you with that situation. Some people keep it funky, like, yo, dogs, this is what happened. Boom. So, like, intent is big with me. Like, are you intentionally trying to play me? Because
Hmm.
that's not going to be tolerated. Or are you trying to survive? Are you going through something? Like, is there another situation behind it? Like, what happened to cause this disconnect? And I think that's big too. And that's part of accountability too. A part of accountability too is assessing a situation and being empathetic to another person's what they're going through and why they might have done something. Like what I was
True.
saying, you lash out at people because of what you're going through. They
Okay.
didn't intend to lash out at me. They going through something. And I
Right. But
can
as a friend, if they're able to come to you and take accountability for borrowing something from you and not being able to give it back to you and explain to you why, then you should be okay with that.
absolutely. But some will do it and had no intention on paying you back.
That is correct.
Can't
All right.
tolerate that.
All
So there
right.
you go. That's the difference
So,
between like intent and you did some, what I'm saying, you did some bogus shit. The problem with me is that, and this is something you had mentioned, you got to let that go because everybody doesn't have that intention. So now I might not do it for the next person that really is genuine to me and I love because of a past experience. And that's another thing I learned to do too. Stop putting past traumas on other people.
Well, that is true because just because it
I've
looks
grown into
familiar
that.
doesn't mean it's familiar.
Yeah, I've grown into that too. So
Okay. All right. Well, this was a very interesting conversation, and I really hope that everyone who tuned in is able to understand the definition of accountability and what the expectations are and what that looks like. I would like to leave everyone with the reflection, right, of what to understand what accountability means, right? Accountability isn't weakness, it's an emotional strength, right? You can't build intimacy without ownership. The relationship grows when your ego shrinks, right? Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly took accountability? Are you asking for accountability but avoiding it yourself? That's it. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for joining. Let's unpack that after dark, season 3, episode number 1, accountability, love, family, and work. And we are back, and we will be back next Friday at 9 o'clock on the dot to talk about some more interesting things. There's so many things to unpack, and we're going to unpack them all. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like us to discuss, you can send me an email at let's unpack that 27 at gmail.com. You can send me a DM on Instagram and let's unpack that 27. And you can even hit me up on let's unpack that 27 on Facebook. But until then, peace, love, and blessings. Remember that you are always first. It's okay to love, but love yourself first, and life will be all of what you want it to be. Peace.
peace.
Hold on. Instagram.